Today we're going to look at Magic the Gathering cards that are lords, but they're not creatures. So for simplicity's sake, it's just going to be cards that can like give an ability to all your creatures. We're going to start off with Coat of Arms from Toads. This, of course, is just a 5-mana artifact. Each creature gets +1/+1 for each creature on the battlefield that shares at least one creature type with it. But for this is actually an insane card because, like, if you have, like, what, 10 goblins on the battlefield, 10 squirrels, it basically buffs all the squirrels up by, what, 10 +1/+1 for each. Is it every other one? So, for example, if you have 2 goblin warriors and a goblin shaman on the battlefield, each get +2/+2 because the goblin's buffing the up 1 for each other creature on the battlefield. Okay, they all get buffed up. All right, we got, yeah, anthems included. Basically, this is like an anthem show, except it doesn't have to just buff up the creatures. It can give some other ability. Like Dinglebags, Adventurers Guildhouse. Adventurers Guildhouse. This is, there we go! All your green legends gains bands with other legends. Your opponents, you got your opponents right where you want them. There's no way they're gonna defeat your legends now that they have banded with the other legends. They've come together. And they will destroy. What a weird card. It's actually $10. A land that doesn't tap for mana. Well, I'll tell you what. You gotta play Yavimaya, Cradle of Growth. It's gonna tap for green, and then it's just any other land. It's land plus upside. Okay, Meme Bruli, Patchwork Banner. This is a 3-mana artifact. As it enters the battlefield, you do choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. And also, you tap it for mana. This is like, I want to feel like this is a mirror of some sort. Except it's not. It's apparently dirty laundry. It looks like dirty laundry in the image. Patchwork Banner. They're just leaving it out to dry, I suppose. Picameo, Chromatic Lantern. Don't think it's Lanterna. Or maybe it is, I don't know. Okay, Chromatic Lantern, 3-mana artifact. Lands you control have tap, add 1 mana of any color. You know what? Do I count this? Are we gonna count cards that don't affect the creatures? Yeah, and I'm not! It's gotta affect the creatures, not all the other lands. We need like these lord-like cards to affect the creatures. He's gotta give the other creatures some sort of ability. Cameron Cole with Heraldic Banner. Heraldic Banner. This is a 3-mana artifact, and as it enters the battlefield, you get to choose a color. Creatures you control of the chosen color do get +1/+0. This has got to be the quintessential, I don't know, generic token lord card. You make blue tokens, you make green tokens, you make white tokens, you use the Heraldic Banner around over here. You gotta do something with all them squirrels. And it also ramps you up. Why do these things have to be 3 mana? Can't it just be like 2? Echo says Reflections of Lityara, as it basically gives each creature of a chosen type the ability to copy itself at cast. That is so weird. 5 mana, as it enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, copy that spell. Actually not a lord. Remember, well, this is our 3rd Lord show. It needs to be some card that gives an ability to all the other cards. But you know what? I like this card. It's pretty cool. I would say it's sort of on theme with the show anyway, you know? At least it affects all the other, everything of a creature type. Whatever. I'll count this thing. It's a pretty unique card. David Howler with the Porcine Portent. Porcine Portent is a 4-mana. Oh, it's an alchemy card. When it enters the battlefield, conjure a card of your choice from the 3 pigs spellbook onto the battlefield, and the boars get +1/+1. I need like a pig sound effect on here. Oink oink. And then also it lend a ham. Oh, I didn't know they made these cards. Oh, maybe it's just an alchemy thing. Is it just an alchemy thing that they make adventures on top of an enchantment? I mean, this looks like an AI generated card to me. Exile target creature, you gain 1 life for each boar you control. That's gonna be a lot of life, because I'm gonna have a lot of boars on the battlefield. My bacon ain't getting cooked around here. Jess! That was the card we started the show with. Coat of Arms, we did that one. Give me another one, Jess. Kagan, Flowering of the White Tree. Flowering of the White Tree is a 2-mana legendary enchantment, and legendary creatures you control get +2/+1, and I have Ward 1. As if that's gonna matter very much. And non-legendary creatures you control get +1/+1. Wow! This is actually a very surprisingly powerful card. I think this is just a buffed up... I guess it's not like... I was thinking it's like a buffed up Crusade. It is in some sense, isn't it? Except it's legendary. They don't stack very well. But it's good anyhow. It's good anyway. Okay, Blackbird. Skeletal Swarming. Skeletal Swarming, black, green, 3 generic for an enchantment. Each skeleton you control has trample. Attacks each combat if able. Oh my goodness. And gets +X/+0, where X is the number of other skeletons you control. Skeletons stronger in numbers. Just like zombies. You've seen those zombie apocalypse movies. And that, as we said before, skeletons are just zombies without flesh. At the beginning of your end step, create a tapped 1/1 black skeleton creature token. And if a creature died this turn, create 2 of those tokens instead. You have nothing to lose. This is a fantastic card. Send in the team. If they die, you get 2 skeletons anyway. Whoops. Anyway, love it. Okay, next up we've got Jess with Castle. Is that it? It's just called Castle? Untapped creatures you control get +0/+2. Alright, it qualifies for the show, though. Untapped creatures. And it's 4 mana! Oh, it's terrible! Okay, next up, we got Toilet Duck with Arlen, Voice of the Pack. Arlen... This is a creature! Arlen... Oh, it's a Planeswalker. Okay, forget it. It's a Planeswalker. Counts. 6 mana for a 7 loyalty Arlen. Each creature you control that's a wolf or werewolf enters the battlefield with an additional +1/+1 counter on it. It's not even a lord! It barely counts. -2, create a 2/2 green wolf creature token. And remember, the lord effects, they give a static ability. They're always static abilities. This is more of a metallic mimic ability. It's like a hardened scales thing. Okay, next up, let's take a look at Pacers Fan Forever, the shared and not... What is shared animosity? This is a red 2 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, it gets +1/+0 until end of turn. For each other attacking creature that shares a creature type with it. Whenever a creature you control counts, good enough. It's good enough for me. I'll take it. Ooh, Bad Moon from 117Y. Is that your age? Bad Moon is a black 1 generic. Black creatures get +1/+1. 100 million %. They're 100% stronger if they're a 1/1 token. They're they are infinite stronger if you play kobolds and then play Painter Servant on black. You think about it, people. All right, Ecos with Steely Resolve. Also hilarious against Boggles. Steely Resolve, a green 1 generic enchantment. As it comes into play, choose a creature type. Creatures of the chosen type can't be targeted by spells or abilities. Oh, and you're gonna name Boggle? What's that, or like their hexproof creature? That has got to be the most back-breaking sideboard card for such a deck. It's a really good card by itself. That's crazy. I would love this in my Merfolk deck, except I don't play green, which sort of screws me as a Merfolk player. Joe with the Goblin Caves. We got a red 1 generic aura. Enchant land. If enchanted land is a basic mountain, goblin creatures get +0, +2. Holy moly. This is a lot of work and also very high risk to play this thing. So it's not like a regular enchantment in play. We have to put it on a basic mountain, which by the way could get blown up by Strip Mine, Armageddon, and etc. I think there is there not a mass land hate card? I think there is in white. I don't remember what it's called though. Anyway, it's marginally more vulnerable than a regular enchantment. Alright, we got Benovsky with a Tale for the Ages. It's a cool art from Eldraine. It is a 2-mana enchantment. Enchanted creatures you control get +2/+2. Now that is a strictly better Crusade. Pacers fan forever with the Conda's Banner. Conda's Banner, 2-mana equipment. Conda's Banner can be attached only to a legendary creature. This is going to be your commander. Creatures that share a color with equipped creature get +1/+1, and creatures that share a creature type with it get +1/+1. So if I put this in my all Merfolk deck, everything will get +2/+2. I like the sound of that. Tommy sends one of my favorite Heartless Summoning. This is like anti-lord tech. Creature spells you cast cost 2 less to cast, but creatures you control get -1/-1. You better make some good use out of that, Tommy said. You gotta make some good use out of that. Kano with the Altar of the Goyf. What? Did I miss something from Modern Horizons 3? 5-mana tribal. Did they update this? Oh, it's now a Kindred artifact. It's a Lurgoyf. Oh, this came out in Modern Horizons 2. So what, did they make this and they decided to buff up the Goyfs in like Modern Horizons 3? Whenever a creature you control attacks alone, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of card types among cards in all graveyards. Lurgoyf creatures you control have Trample. So you're gonna finally, we're gonna get Tarmogoyf. You can't chump block Tarmogoyf anymore. If you do, it's gonna still punch you. Okay, Steve Cooper. Did we do Murmuration? Not yet. We will in a minute. This is a 5-mana enchantment. Birds you control get +1/+1 and have Vigilance. Now, at the beginning of your end step, for each spell you've cast this turn, create a 1/2 blue bird creature token with flying named Stormcrow. Damn, do I have a bird? I don't have enough animal sound effects on my Rolodex here. Okay, Vic the Foxy Gamer. Have we done... Yeah, you're like the third one. Actually, I wasn't the first. Toes was the first. Okay, anyway, that got super sniped. It didn't really get sniped. If you were here early enough, you would have seen that we've done it. I should have an announcement, or even put in the title, Coat of Arms, it's been done already. Let's see, okay, the Coat of Arms mention has been up to 3. We're up to 3. We're gonna donate this one to... Did you get one, Reston Serpentine? You started the show. Yeah, I started with the show with the Coat of Arms. Glorious Anthem. Has Anthem in the name. The white 1 generic. Creatures you control get +1/+1. This is a crappy Anthem, though. This is like literally 3 mana. It's a strictly worse Anthem from the other Anthems. We need to make another strictly worse Magic the Gathering show. Noel, Nature's Revolt. This is a 5-mana enchantment. All lands are 2/2 creatures that are still lands. Okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna open this. You know, I like that it turns into creatures. I'm gonna count it just because it turned the lands into the creatures. If it was the lands gain some other abilities, I don't. Maybe we should just say it's a lord for anything. Okay, I'm gonna open up the door. What was that last one that I disqualified? It was for lands, all lands. So we can, if it's a lord for like all of a card type, it's gonna be good. We're gonna let all hell break loose. Chris Kiger, ooh, Eldrazi Monument, monumentally insane. This is, I think this is broken. 5 mana, creatures you control get +1/+1 and have flying and indestructible. And at the beginning of your upkeep, sack a creature. If you can't sacrifice Eldrazi Monument. Okay, hold on, sorry. I mistook this for another card. It's still okay. It's not broken. It's not broken. Hamad, a Kindred Discovery. We're gonna discover something here. 5 mana. Enchantment. As Kindred Discovery enters the battlefield, you get to choose a creature type. And whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, I love that. You attack, you get value. You enter the battlefield, you get value. Draw a card. Huge fan. Vic the Foxy Gaming, give me something else. You got sucked into that thing. Did you have a replacement here? I gotta get one for my Ooze deck. These are all great. Okay, next up, we'll do Jess's super chat. This is the True Conviction. True Conviction is a white, 3 generic enchantment. Creatures you control have double strike, and they also get lifelink. This is a very strong card. You get yourself some vigilance, and no one will attack into you, and you'll have 100 bazillion life. Okay, we've got, next up. Oh, you thought it was for... Oh, I think I thought it was Forsaken Monument. Forsaken Monument. Does that also count for the show? This is yeah, colorless creatures you control get +2/+2. This is broken. And this is only 5 mana, by the way. Whenever you tap a colorless permanent, add another colorless, and whenever you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. What are they, insane? So basically, everything's a soul land. Some of them are tri-lands now, and by tri-land, I mean you're adding 3 mana. Complete bonkers. New York City Street Poet. I guarantee you've never heard of Fortified Area. Fortified Area. It's a white 1 generic enchantment. All walls you control gain banding and get +1/+0. It's exactly what we needed. We need to buff up the walls. What does that even mean? It's like what we added. That's like the barbed wire that are outside of the jails on the fences. Gotta add that barbed wire for extra damage. Okay, Christopher B with a Steely Resolve. Steely Resolve. Oh, we did this one. This is a great card. I don't know if I just don't remember it from another show, but I think this thing is insane. You have to play it. Unfortunately, you have to play it in, you know, a creature-based deck, so otherwise you can't play. Otherwise, it's sort of poop. I guess you could play it in any deck. Who cares? Just name your commander. Can't be targeted anymore. Cytherealt. With Marrow Commerce. We got a 2 mana enchantment at the end of your turn. Untap all merfolk you control. Doesn't feel very Anthem-like, to be honest. Some of these don't feel very. It's on theme of merfolk. Maybe I should let it pass. It's not like every creature got the ability. At end of turn, you untap this creature. You must untap it. Okay, we got Whiteout with Crusade the Bandlord. The Band Non-Lord. Can I even find it? Ugh, they don't let you find these things anymore. What if I do that? No? Still nothing? I can't remember how I accidentally get into these cards on Scryfall. Is it here or they just don't want to show it at all? It's banned Whiteout. They banned it. They've even banned it from Scryfall. I have no idea. How do we get around this thing? Like, it's not gonna show anything. It has the card image. The art is sort of banned on the site. Yeah, that's right. It's the culturally banned card around here. Okay, you all know what it is. Is there anything that can represent Crusade? Nothing here, unfortunately. Okay, well, thank you very much for the super chat. Okay, we'll donate the super chat to Ferginka. Behind the scenes. Oops, I looked up for Ginka. Okay, we got a black 2 generic enchantment. Creatures you control have Skulk. White 4 generic. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. This card's no, creature's gonna have Skulk. That's great. Okay, actually, this is a lot better than I thought it was. A lot better than I thought it was. I thought it was... I thought it was literally, we pay 3 mana to get this 5 mana activated ability over here. Okay, next up, we're going... Oh, by the way, just in reference to the Crusade card, it's a white enchantment. Gets +1/+1 to all creatures. For anyone that doesn't know, Pabno! Thank you very much for your super chat. Pushing the boundary because we need to get more dino representation here. The poetic ingenuity. I can pronounce this word. I know I can do it. 3 mana for an enchantment. Whenever one or more dinosaurs you control attack! Attack of the dinos. Create that many treasure tokens. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 3/1 red dinosaur creature token. This ability triggers only once each turn. Not really a lord. Whenever one... No, whatever. I accepted those other cards. We're gonna accept when creatures attack, you get ability, I suppose. Especially if it mentions a creature type, so... We're gonna give that one. Pedgeman, Opalescence. Can't go wrong with it. Can you? Opalescence. Each global enchantment is a creature with power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost. It's still an enchantment. Okay. It's like a coat of arms. No, it's not like coat of arms, but whatever. It buffs up enchantments. Okay, you're an enchantment. You're a soldier now. And guess what? You're gonna be as big as your casting cost. Next super chat coming from Steve Cooper. Annie joins up. Is that a real card? Donation 2 for chat. This is sort of a newish card. White, green, red, 1 generic, legendary enchantment. When Annie joins up, enters the battlefield, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. If a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. Deals 5 damage if a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers. That ability triggers an additional time. We're sort of straying off the path here of like, what is a lord? This doesn't feel like a lord at all. It's like it only affects 1 creature. Deals 5 damage. This is... God, I have to lay down the law at some point. That is definitely a disqualification. I will disqualify one. Sorry about that. What was that from Steve Cooper? That was from Steve Cooper. We're going to donate 3 cards then, Steve Cooper. Okay, who wants the first one? Just a random mage, the Immortal Sun. This is a 6 mana legendary artifact. Players can't activate Planeswalker loyalty abilities. Ah, we found the answer to Planeswalkers. At the beginning of your draw step, draw an additional card. Okay, you just draw an additional card. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, and creatures you control get +1/+1. That is such a random ability at the end. As if that last part even mattered that much. Okay, next up, we've got 2 more super chats. That's right, we were going nowhere. We got Jay with a Liliana's Mastery. Master them zombies, right? I believe also make zombies. 5 mana. Zombies you control get +1/+1. And when it enters the battlefield, we make 2 black zombie creature tokens. So really, we're making 2 2/2s, which are actually 3 3s because of the Liliana's Mastery. Master the way of the zombie. I figured it might fit since Dominaria United Joda cares about legendary creatures. It's only like 1 at a time. It wasn't Lord enough for me. Okay, we have... You got one. Okay, we'll give you another one. Mobilization. This is a 3 mana enchantment. Soldiers, creatures you control have vigilance. I love it. See, it doesn't have to be just +1/+1. If it gives a static ability to all the creatures, it definitely will count. We have a white 2 generic ability. Put a 1/1 white soldier creature token onto the battlefield. This card's amazing. So if you got, this is a great infinite mana sink. You have infinite mana, you play mobilization, you just have infinite creatures. Behold my creatures, my power. Okay, Julian, Corrupted Key. It's a playtest card, black artifact key. As long as card name is tapped, creatures you control have Menace and Death Touch. Sadly, these are not legal everywhere else. Okay, we got New York City Street Poets with, I'm suggesting, Intangible Virtue and donating one to chat. Classic Lord. White 1 generic enchantment. Creature tokens you control like +1/+1, but they also have Vigilance. They do not tap to attack. All right, we're going to donate to West Coast Games with Sunken City. At the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Sunken City unless you pay double blue. Blue creatures get +1/+1. This is absolutely awful. I mean, this is a terrible card. I want to say this saw some playing Pauper. Is this a Pauper legal card? It is a Pauper legal card. There was once a fairies deck that made the top 8 with like 1 copy of this in it, just to have like, you know, buff up their fairies a little bit. Give it a little bit of power. Tony, the Pokemon god. We got the Patchwork Banner. Oh, is this just like oh no, we looked at this one already, Tony. We saw that one, but thanks for the suggestion anyway. Is there anyone who hasn't got a card yet? Shark Dragon! Sorry, Sarkar Dragon! Hollowed Haunting. Double white 2 generic for an enchantment, as long as you control 7 or more. Enchantments. Creatures you control have flying and vigilance. And when you cast an enchantment spell, create a white spirit cleric creature token with this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of spirits you control. This can get out of hand like crazy. So as you play more enchantments, you create a spirit army, which will eventually have flying and vigilance. I don't understand why spirits can't have flying by default. John, the Beastmaster Ascension. Beastmaster Ascension is a green 2 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature you control attacks, you may put a quest counter on Beastmaster Ascension. As long as Beastmaster Ascension has 7 or more quest counters on it, creatures you control get +5/+5. Amazing. That's enormous, actually. As long as that's 7 ones. Your creatures basically have overrun every single turn. Except they don't have trample. They have everything except that. Evan! No card yet? Well, not now. Legion's Initiative. Because we all need to take the initiative in life. It is a white-red enchantment. Red creatures you control get +1/+0. White creatures you control get +0/+1. And also for a red and a white, exile it and exile all creatures you control. At the beginning of the next combat, return those creatures to the battlefield under the owner's control. And those creatures gain haste. Only until end of turn. I don't know how they're going to need the haste after this turn, so it's okay. It can wear away. All right, you heard the music. We're going to look at more lords that aren't actually creatures. But before we do that, we got to thank our sponsor, FusionGamingOnline.com. You're looking for some new Bloomborough cards to add to your Pioneer, Standard, or Commander deck? Look no further than FusionGamingOnline.com. And also, the deal of the week, because there is a spicy one every single week. 15% off Modern Horizons 3 singles and sealed product. Modern Horizons 3 just came out, and if you're looking for a deal on those cards, now is the time to do it, as you get 15% off. Don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu for an additional 5% off, and it also supports the channel, I might. You want to support the channel. So we're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. See, Magic Online is the competitive space, the digital spot, where you can play all the paper formats online. Whether it be Pauper, Standard, Pioneer, Modern, Legacy, Vintage, and if you want to play old decks, old formats, there's no better place to look than renting them with Mana Traders. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_IEP. And now we go back to the Lords. The Lordy Lords. Okay, super chat time from Bell. The door to destiny. And donate. Happy Swiss national holiday. This is, destinies. The door to many destinies. Thanks so much for your super chat, Bell. 4 mana. As it enters the battlefield, you choose a creature type. Whenever you, bonus points to everyone who can have like an on-creature themed card. Whenever you cast a spell of the chosen type, put a charge counter on door to destinies. And creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1 for each charge counter on the door of destinies. That makes no sense. How is this door making me stronger? This should be a teleportation device. If anything, this should be the type of card that like Legion's Initiative, like wipes my board clean and then they all come back with haste. Because we just took a break in an alternate dimension. Okay, West Coast Games wants redemption. Humility pumps up my kobolds or living lands. Humility. That is a really weird thing to say. Okay, for a white 2 generic, all creatures lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 1/1. But technically, if you're a kobold, you're a 0/1. If you're what's it called? If you're an ornithopter, a lot of artifacts out there with 0 power. If you're a 0 mana wall, you now attack for more than you did just a few seconds ago. In fact, if you are a wall, I think you can attack now, right? I think you can attack. I think we did Marrow Commerce already, Lord Magicus. We did Marrow Commerce. Next up, Islar still needs one. Feywild. Visitor. Okay, Feywild Visitor is a blue 2 generic legendary enchantment. It's also a background. Commander creatures you own have whenever one or more non-token creatures you control deal damage to a player, you create a 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature token with flying. Commander creatures, as if you can steal somebody's commander and attack in the red zone with all of them. Wow, that technically is a lord here. All your commander creatures. Okay, we're gonna go Kagan. How about Lux Artillery? It's a decent win con. Says Kagan. Okay, 4 mana artifact. Whenever you cast an artifact creature spell, it gains Sunburst. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 13 or more counters among artifacts and creatures you control, Lux Artillery deals X damage to each opponent. Whenever you cast an artifact, this has nothing to do with being a lord. How is that a lord? It gave no creature on the battlefield the ability of nothing. If anything, your creatures give this thing an ability. It's the inverted lord. Okay, let's look at Fabricio, War Leader's Call. It's a stupid card. Okay, stupid cards are allowed on this show. We got a white-red 1 generic enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, War Leader's Call deals 1 damage to each opponent. Death by 1,000 cuts. Okay, so that replaces the super chat. Ooh, I like this one. Fires of Yavimaya. From 117 years. We have a green-red 1 generic. Creatures you control have haste. And also sacrifice Fires of Yavimaya. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. Lord Magicus says, I can think of 1 lord that Gatherer has permanently removed from the database. Yeah, we talked a little bit about Crusade. I can't even find it. It's not even on here. So yeah, if people suggested, look it up on Gatherer. Sometimes I accidentally find it here. I think maybe through a Google search. Nikachu, what about Craterhoof Behemoth? It's a creature. That's what I think about Craterhoof. It's a creature. Okay, next up, we've got Reston Serpentine. The Rolling Stones. Stronghold art, please. This is the Stronghold one. Oh yeah. What kind of rolling is this? It's like some gigantic mutant mud person. Okay, white, 1 generic enchantment. Walls can attack as though they were not walls. When walls attack. See, don't be smoking those drugs, kids, because all of a sudden you'll be fighting with a wall. They did it to themselves. Okay, Dio Brando. I need one! Crucible of Fire. It's a red 3 generic enchantment. Dragon creatures you control get. Holy smokes. +3/+3? Yeah, that's a huge payoff for being in dragons. Your walls kindred allies here. This also works well if you're in a changeling deck. Alright, if you're in changelings, it's gonna be +3/+3. Okay, next up. Let's go with Ecos. Rhythm of the Wild is a very cheeky one. Rhythm of the Wild. How cheeky. Okay, it's a green-red 1 generic. Creature spells you control can't be countered. Non-token creatures you control have riots. Good enough for me. Just good enough. Dragons totally need more swollenness. You can never be swole enough when you're a dragon. Okay, Mason with Intangible Virtue. Oh, did we do this one? I think we did this one. Yeah, we did this one. Sorry about that. Try again, Mason. Okay, we got Vinovsky, Nowhere to Run. Okay, black 1 generic for an enchantment with Flash. Come out of nowhere. When Nowhere to Run enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -3/-3 until end of turn. Creatures your opponents control can be the target of spells or can be the target of spells of a target of spells. What? Can be the targets of spells and as though they didn't have hexproof. Ward abilities of those creatures don't trigger. This is like Anti-Lord. Close enough, I guess. It's basically all your opponent's creatures lose hexproof and so on. Okay, who else does not have? You don't have to say sorry, Mason. Don't worry. Everyone suggests cards that have already been shown. Because you just joined the show. I mean, how do you know what has and has not been shown yet? Okay, next up, let's take. We're not going to do another one. The Call for Unity. The white 1 3 generic with Revolt at the beginning of your end step. If a permanent you controlled left the battlefield this turn, put a Unity counter on Call for Unity. And creatures you control get +1/+1 for each Unity counter on Call for Unity. This must be a hard card to use. It like comes out sort of late. I mean, you want to get it out as early as possible, but if you get it out early, then you're not getting creatures out as early as possible. Tough card to play. Very tough. Safifi, Goblin Shrine. Love the flavor text. If you love it so much, we'll read it. It's a red 1 generic aura, enchant land. What's with these goblin cards that enchant land? Okay, if enchanted land is a mountain, goblin creatures you control get +1/+0. Oh, so we can enchant a plains. When Goblin Shrine leaves the battlefield, it deals 1 damage to each goblin. There's not even a flavor text here. I knew it weren't no ordinary pile of nor in the wary. You mean crap? I think they meant crap. Okay, next up, we'll take a look at Pabno. Just played a bunny deck in draft, so Caretaker's Talent, and then donate 1. Okay, this is a white 2 generic. Oh yeah, it's a class enchantment. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. This ability only triggers once each turn. Ah, damn it. Sorry about that. Wow, this would be a broken card if you Sharpied it out. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, just draw a card. Level 2, when this class becomes level 2, create a token that's a copy of target token you control. And at level 3, creature tokens you control get +2/+2. How much mana does that cost you? 8? That's a lot of mana. I don't think we did favorable wins, Lord Magicus. Favorable wins. No, definitely not. Blue 1 generic. Creatures you control have flying and get +1/+1. They're gonna get you in the air. Wow, this is strictly better than that blue card, right? Isn't that strictly better than the blue? This is strictly better than the blue card that we looked at. It was like the one with the upkeep. It was like blue, same thing, but doesn't give flying. Isn't this another culturally banned card? What are you trying to do to me? Wow, we actually can get this one to show up, though. This is, okay, when it enters, choose a color and an opponent. White creatures get +2/+1 as long as the chosen player controls a non-token permanent of the chosen color. When the chosen player controls no non-token permanents of the chosen color, sacrifice the jihad. Are you trying to get me banned? It's a family-friendly show here. Okay, we got next up. Christopher B is really excited. Light from within, light from within. Light. Don't start a new trend where everyone's gonna spam the chat with the card in bold. Light from within. Okay, this is a white 2 generic enchantment. Chroma! Each creature you control gets +1/+1 for each white mana symbol in its mana cost. Oh, this is like devotion before it was devotion. Devotion before it was devotion. Cool. Okay, Ecos. Last one. The Tyvar Kel. It's an elf planeswalker lord. I would kill for a plane. You know, I can't wait until Modern Horizons 20 when they finally give me a blue planeswalker lord that can attack like Gideon. I think that's the only way we can do it. I really hope chat started the stream with Code of Honor. We did start. We did actually. We did. You nailed it. Okay, Tyvar Kel, the green 2 generic 3 loyalty. Elves you control have tap, add a black to your mana pool. And then also +1, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target elf, untap it, and it gains Death Touch. You can also make elves. All right, Tyvar L is a elf maker, or recruiter, I guess. We have -6. You get an emblem with whenever you cast an elf spell, it gains haste until end of turn, and you draw 2 cards. I guess the hard part is getting the ultimate. It takes like four turns to do so. That's what I call modern volume 29. Oh yeah, like my blue planeswalker that can attack and be a lord. Rough 1/1 Dragon Tempest. This is a red 1 generic enchantment. Whenever a creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, it gains haste until end of turn. And then whenever a dragon enters the battlefield under your control, it deals X damage to target creature or player, where X is the number of dragons you control. Close enough. You know what? If it doesn't give a static ability, it better be creature type related. Hello, Sebastian. Welcome. Bell says, I want another bonus point. The Gauntlet of Power. How much power do you want, Bell? This is a 5 mana gauntlet. Enters the battlefield, choose a color. And creatures of the chosen color get +1/+1. And whenever a basic land is tapped for mana of the chosen color, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of that color. Reminds me of that Eldrazi monument. Okay, next up, we've got Steve Cooper with Wedding Announcement with the Wedding Festival. Oh yeah, it gives +1/+1, right? And we're gonna donate too. Steve Cooper's such a great guy. We have a white 2 generic enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, put an invitation counter on Wedding Announcement, and if you attacked with 2 or more creatures this turn, draw a card. Otherwise, create a 1/1 white human creature token. Then if Wedding Announcement has 3 or more invitation counters on it, transform it. And it's going to be transformed into the Wedding Festivity. The creatures you just get +1/+1. That's what happens when you get on the dance floor. You have a lot more energy on the dance floor, okay? Anyone a good dancer out there? I'm not. Okay, David Sampson, Blessed Sanctuary. White 3 generic. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and creatures you control. And prevent, whenever a non-token creature enters the battlefield under your control, create a 2/2 white unicorn creature token. What a weird card. The Unicorns! Make a unicorn deck. Freaking asks, why the F Builder's Blessing and Castle is the same card with different names and is a bad card even according to my standards? I don't know. What is that? Did we look at Builder's Blessing? Untapped creatures control get +1. I think we looked at that one. Yeah, untapped creatures control get +0/+2. Or maybe we didn't look at Builder's Blessing. Beanpot, Achroma's Memorial. I feel like this is a few. I think Jess also wanted Achroma's Memorial. Haven't got a free one. You didn't get one, Jess. I swore I got one of yours. That's okay. Someone else get Achroma's Memorial? Okay, a lot of people taking credit for Achroma's Memorial. 7-mana legendary artifact. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and from red. All right, everything. This card literally is like the lord of all for your creatures. Okay, next up we got New York Street Post. Did we do tempered steel? I don't think so. This is like an artifact lord. The white one generic. Oh yeah, artifact creatures you control get the +2/+2. It's pretty strong. They get buffed up. The Builder's Blessing is when you don't see his crack when he is repairing something. Hard to do these days. Hard to do. Islarf, this one is stretching the rules as if other people have not stretched the rules enough. The Omen Keel. Okay, how badly is it stretching it? Blue 2 generic for a 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, by the way, this is a god, you may exile Cosima. And if you do, it gains whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. If Cosima was exiled, you may put a voyage counter on it. And if you don't, return Cosima to the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it, and draw X cards where X is the number of voyage counters on it. I swear this is like a custom Magic the Gathering card. No one in RD made this thing. Okay, the other side, the Omen Keel. Whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, that player exiles that many cards from the top of their library. You may play lands from among those cards for as long as they remain exiled. How is this a lord? Where X is the number of void. This is not a lord. I don't even know what rules you're stretching. This literally did nothing lord-like at all. Nothing. Dustin, Eater of Virtue. Front side is a creature, back side is a... Yeah, but it does nothing lord-like. Okay, we have 1-mana equipment. When a equipped creature dies, you exile it. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Now, as long as a card exiled with Eater of Virtue has flying, equipped creature has flying. The same is true for first strike, double strike, death touch, haste, hexproof, indestructible, lifelink, menace, protection, reach, trample, and vigilance. I will barely count this. It doesn't do it to all creatures, but at least it does it to one. Vehicle, was it a vehicle lord? You may put a voyage counter on if you don't. Return Cosima back to hand with X +1/+1 counters on it and draw X cards where X is the number. I don't get where the vehicle lord part is. Whenever a vehicle you control deals Oh, it does! Oh, 100% that counts. Yeah, whenever a vehicle... I thought it was like whenever the Omen Keel. Yeah, that totally counts. That was a good one. 10 thumbs up for the Omen Keel. I thought it was just itself attacking and dealing damage. I did flip it, bro. I just didn't read it properly, like every other show. All right, next super chat. Kagan with the backside of Invasion of Belenon. Is it Invasion of B? Oh god, oh here it is. Invasion of Belenon. Why couldn't find that thing? Okay, Invasion of Belenon. It's a siege for 3 mana. Enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white knight and blue knight. Stack it down for 2. Creatures control get +1/+1. Look at that. Look at that elephant. Looks like it's working out. Pumping that iron. It's a rule of both MTG players and Yu-Gi-Oh players. Oh yeah, can't read anything. I'm extra screwed in this game. I'll tell you how I read cards. Let me tell you how I read cards in actual Magic the Gathering. I will misread it, lose to the thing, and then I'll never forget again. That's all. I remember I can feel the stinging pain of losing to cards. That's how I read cards. You gotta punch me in the face. I can read pain. Alright. Does anyone not have a card at this point? Sebastian might not have a card. Sigarda's Summons is on the brink of not being a lord. It's a 6-mana enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1 counters on them. Creatures you control with +1/+1 counters on them have base power and toughness 4/4. Have flying and are angels in addition to their other types. That's a great card. I think it's very lord-like. Okay, next up, Jess with Akroma's Memorial. Damn it, did we do that one? Oh, I'm sorry, Jess. I gave you credit for the last one. I gave you credit for it too. You didn't have to super chat that. Okay, we're gonna donate that. Let's give to. Jonathan says, "Don't forget a nice gesture on your part would be to hit that like button." That's right, you guys smash that like button. It's free and greatly appreciated. Thanks so much, Jonathan. I need to hire you on board. My social media advisor. Lord Jaraxxus, Rooftop Storm. Does casting costs count? No. 6 mana. You may pay 0 rather than pay the mana spells for zombie creatures you control. No. Want some abilities happening here in play. Yeah, got it. Just got it for free. Jess is right. Yeah, Jess sniped. It's not the first, second, or third time it's ever happened before. It was bad timing. It's fine. Who doesn't got a card? I don't know if did Mason get a card successfully? Rising of the Day. This is a 3-mana enchantment. Creatures you control have haste. Legendary creatures you control get +1/+0. Only the legends, that's too bad. Still Lord, though. Very Lord-like. Okay, another Lord effect, time forgotten, from New York City street poet, the Sarah Aviary. That's birds, I think? Pumps up your birds? Oh no, it just pumps up all your creatures for 4 mana. Okay. Pump them creatures up. It's expensive, though. It's been lost to time because it is strictly worse than everything else these days. Okay, next up. Jeskai Ascendancy. I hate this card. Is it a lord? Okay, white, red, blue. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. Untap those creatures. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. If you do, discard a card. Okay, lord enough like to me. For me. Heavily affects creatures. Rad Dog. Sorry, I thought your name was Raw Dog. It's a Rad Dog. Wand of Orcus. We gotta be more specific here, apparently. Wand of Orcus. This is a black 2 generic equipment. Whenever equipped creature attacks or blocks, it and zombies you control gain death touch until end of turn. That's a unique Lord equipment. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create that many 2/2 black zombie creature tokens. And also you can equip for 3. Next super chat from Whiteout. We got the Sorin, Lord of Innistrad. The black-white 2 generic 3/3 Sorin, +1 create a 1/1 black vampire token with lifelink. Also for -2, you get an emblem with creatures you control get +1/+0. And also for -6, destroy up to 3 target creatures and or planeswalkers. Well, we just blow anything up. Return each card put into a graveyard this way to the battlefield under your control. If only Sorin had access to nukes. Nuke everything. Jonathan's like, I'm not sure if this fits the parameters. I heard that all day today. Death Pit. Death Pit offering, to be specific. Okay, this is a black, 2 generic enchantment. When Death Pit Offering comes into play, sacrifice all creatures you control. Creatures you control get +2/+2. 100% that counts. You may not have anything to offer the Death Pit at that point, but it definitely counts. John, it's a creature, unfortunately. Sorry about that, John Doe. It be creature. Evan with the Aura Flux. This is a blue 2 generic enchantment. Each other enchantment gains during your upkeep, pay 2 or sacrifice this enchantment. That is so weird, but it works. It's not really a good thing for you, but hopefully it's a bad thing for somebody else. One day we're gonna have like lords for other people's permanents. Does that exist? Like just like Elish Norn? Lords for your opponent's permanents. Okay, next up. We've got... Okay, who hasn't gotten 2 yet? Gavin Drake, I don't even know if you've gotten 1. Flowering of the White Tree. If there's anyone who hasn't got even 1 yet, let me know. White. Oh, we did this one. We did the Flowering of the White Tree. Why would you play this besides donating it? Oh, you mean with this enchantment? Each other enchantment. It's each other enchantment. So it's not the ones you control. It's supposed to be like anti-enchantment tech. So it affects your opponent's enchantments. Okay, David Sampson says, Orcish Oriflame was printed for round 1 in Alpha and was busted at the beginning of the Days of Magic if you had the right printing. Did anyone else suggest this? No, it's just David Sampson. David Sampson's so excited to get Orcish Oriflame on here. Well, if you said it's so good, let's just go back to the good old days. Okay, red 1 generic enchantment. When attacking, all your attacking creatures get +1/+0. Was it any good? What did you pair this with? I thought, like, Shivan Dragon was the best thing back then. I don't even know if they had any 1-drop creatures in red. Oh, each other, not just your own. Yeah, exactly. Well, that would be just self-sabotage for no reason whatsoever. Okay, next up, we're going to take a look at Kagan, Teferi, a Kosa of, was it Zalafir? It's an Emblem Lord. A Kosa of Zalafir. Sorry, Zalfir. Oh, this is the other side? Oh my goodness! So like, Teferi, if you attack an invasion, Teferi pops out. It's a 4 loyalty Teferi, +1, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards unless you discard a creature card. -2, you get an emblem with knights you control get +1/+0 and have ward 1. And also -3, tap X creatures you control. When you do, shuffle target non-land permanent and opponent controls with mana value X or less into its owner's library. Very interesting card. Okay, we'll take a look at Bell's Hammer of Perthros. And then it's Super Chat time. It's Paywall are Us. Red 1 generic. Legendary enchantment. Artifact. Creatures you control have haste. And also pay 3 mana, tap, sacrifice a land. Put a 3/3 colorless golem creature, golem enchantment artifact creature token onto the battlefield. That's a lot of card types. Okay, white out with Ethereal Absolution. Alright, we got a black-white 4 generic enchantment. Creatures you control get +1/+1, and creatures your opponents control get -1/-1. And also for 4 mana, exile target card from an opponent's graveyard. If it was a creature card, you get a 1/1 white and black spirit creature token with flying, which will get +1/+1. Okay, again, I'll continue with the Circle of Loyalty. So white 4 generic legendary artifact. The spell costs 1 less to cast for each knight you control. Creatures you control get +1/+1. And whenever you cast a legendary spell, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. And for 4 mana, tap, create a 2/2 white knight creature token with vigilance. See, this also reminds me of like custom Magic the Gathering cards, except all these abilities are somewhat like, they're all fair. They're all fair and fine. If the custom card players make this card, you'll make every one of those 4 abilities completely busted. Completely broken. Eco says, I think Orcish Oriflame had a version which was misprinted that cost 2 mana when it was supposed to be 4, so that's why people randomly had an objectively better version by sheer luck. Really? I gotta look that up. Orcish Oriflame. You mean it's not supposed to be 2 mana? Oh, it's 4 mana! Yeah, if we go to the OGs, like a long time. Wow, Alpha. So Alpha is where it was broken. If I can even call it broken. By today's standards, not even good. Yeah, the Alpha version was incorrect. And you know what? Both of the... I guess this is Commander playable. Like any other edition, even the Beta edition, not even playable. Imagine trying to rule 0 into a fact like you have to play the cards as they read. Okay, Kagan, and I'll stop with the stamp of approval. Okay, this is a 3. Oh, this is not even a real card. 3 mana, a stamp of approval enters the battlefield. Choose a watermark. Creatures you control with the chosen watermark get +1/+1. That'd be so hard to pull off. Julian, thanks so much for your super chat. We got drawn together. Another silver border card. Okay, white, 2 generic. Enchantment. As drawn together comes into play, choose an artist. Creatures control. Sorry, creatures by the chosen artist get +2/+2. I would imagine it's like super hard to make like a deck that is all of one artist. Sounds very, very difficult. R&D Secret Lair uncard makes you play with cards as written. That's a good idea. Okay, Evan said the show is not done just yet. Not when we've got Eric Garrick's Uprising. Okay, this is a green 2 generic enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, we get to draw a card. Creatures control have trample. And whenever a creature with power 4 or greater enters the battlefield under your control, draw a card. It's a strong card. Maybe even stronger if it was a creature. But even then, it's still pretty good. Plus, artist-only decks are brutally expensive. Depends on the artist. You know, and also, it's not an artist-only deck until you've got all the cards signed. Okay, it looks like that's it. I'm sure there's more cards, but... that's it for Coffee and MTG. Thank you so much for joining me today, looking at all the lords that are not actually creatures. We do this show weekdays, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, so be there or be square. Thanks to everyone who supports the channel. If you're a patron on Patreon, a member on YouTube, or you super chat to be part of the show, or you super chat so other people are part of the show. And thanks so much, everyone, for being here today, because the show would be nothing without all of you. We got people like the Blackbird, Twilight Duck, the Abyss Soul, Fergenka, Sebastian, Toads, Cole, Apocalypse. We got Buzz Rickson, Ecos, Bell, Resident Serpentine, Fergenka, David, Julian, Steve Cooper, I got you, Toads, Jess, Kano, and more, because the coffee crew are what makes the show run. So as usual, my coffee crew, keep brewing up them coffees, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.